requesting my team member to run that video that we have from Gram Vikas.
It has been 45 years since we began conversing with, walking alongside and bearing witness to the incredible lives of people across Odisha. How does one remember such a journey? Milestones, triumphs and statistics seem to capture the journey. But the very people whose lives are the foundation of our story, in their gentle ways, in their softness of being, remind us that to truly witness our story, we must first witness theirs. We see a story of resilience in the proud strides of the women in Bandhaguda, who took matters into their own hands and approached Gram Vikas to assist in installing toilets in their village.
आमर मलेरिया भी आम गाँव को बेसी होची बोली कहते सेटा पाई आमर ग्राम विकास आसिला परे आमको बुझेइतिले सेटा पाई आमे सब माँ मन एकजुट होइकी आमर लैट्रिन बाथरूम बनैतिलु बनैकी एबे बल अच्छु पानी बलरे चलची आउ आम गाँ से रोग पाई भी मलेरिया हो कि कौन हो सेटा भी आमर मुक्त होइची.
We know we must have done something right when we see these women pause their chores and gather to make collective decisions. They show up knowing that here their voices are not only heard but amplified. We find comfort in the assured gaze of farmers who look to the hills, knowing that all the rain and spring water flowing down the slopes will be available for farming and consumption. Ultimately, everything ties back to water. To see water managed right, accessed conveniently and shared uniformly. To see communities fully acknowledge and assume responsibility for their water, to achieve water security is a conversation we've been having for the past 4 decades. In quiet corners, in signs small yet significant, we find affirmations of conversations becoming action.
When Gram Vikas started thinking about how we will continue to be relevant to our community partners, we said water and the natural resources around it and the institutions and mechanisms around it, but with water as the anchor point. How can communities look at their well-being, their sustained future? That is the exploration that we are doing with the Water Secure Gram Panchayat program. The program, as we see it today, is built on 4 impact pillars. Sustainability of water and natural resources being one, which means that there is sufficient availability of water, sufficient quality of natural resources that communities will have for them. Prosperity is the 3rd pillar that WSGP is built on. It's about how producers and the communities can benefit from being climate smart, being judicious about natural resource uses. If availability of water is one area of uncertainty that rural producers face, the second is around weather. The WSGP is experimenting with a network of micro weather stations and manual rain gauges to build Gram Panchayat level weather information and link it with experts who provide weekly weather forecasts and crop advisory suited for that particular Gram Panchayat based on the land use and the cropping pattern in that Gram Panchayat. There's an overall issue of safety, the safety pillar, which is around the larger issues of health and well-being and drinking water and sanitation and water quality and environmental sanitation.
आम जो WSGP प्रोग्राम भितर ग्राम पंचायत प्रत्येक ग्राम केमिति विशुद्ध पानीय जल समस्ते पाइपर समस्त घरे किपरि यूजेबल टॉयलेट व्यवहार योग्य टॉयलेट हो पार तापाई बोली प्राधान्य दिया तापाई बोले आम जेजेम सांगरे पंचायत सांगरे कोऑर्डिनेशन करी किमिति पानी जलर व्यवस्था प्रति परिवार को पंचायत रे पाई परिबे तापाई बोली व्यवस्था करूँ.
Finally, the core pillar of equity and resilience. Any program that intervenes with water or natural resources as the starting point will automatically lead to exclusion of a certain section of the population because they don't depend on land or water for their livelihoods. And how do we then ensure that nobody is excluded?
भिडिस लेवल जोटा होता है गाँव सबू जाक लोक समस्त एकाठी होके गाँव में कौन कौन आवश्यक अच्छी से जिनसटा से उपस्थापन करते जो जिनस हेले गाँव उन्नति हो पार तो से जिनस से डिमांड दे था तो समस्ते उपस्थित गोटे प्राथमिकताकरण करे कौ जिनस गाँव आग दरकार कौ जिनस पछरे दरकार.
We believe there is scope for a social enterprise approach to rural technical service provision, rural knowledge service provision. The Gram Vikas Sathi approach that Gram Vikas is adopting in WSGP aims to build a network of service providers, men and women, with real capabilities, technical and knowledge capabilities in their thematic area. For instance, geohydrology, groundwater, and afforestation kind of skills. How to raise nurseries, how to identify what species are suitable for which soil. We call them the Jalabandhus. Gram Vikas came into being as a facilitating organization to help build capabilities of rural communities, to address challenges that they face on a day-to-day basis, but do that in a way that is sustainable, that is inclusive, that preserves and maintains the dignity of rural communities, not as mere takers of charity, but as controllers of their destiny.